Lo and behold, here we are. We have a game. It took some finagling, a couple of rehostings, a couple of country changes via Steam, but we've made it, guys. We're here. This is technically... Is this game 4? I've already lost track, Cinder. I think this is technically game 4. Game 3 for Na'Vi. And now it will be Na'Vi versus RX, aka Team Poseidon, though they are now RX following their roster changes. I'm Zyori. Joining me once again is Cinderin. And we've got a game, buddy. How you feeling now that we're finally in the draft?
I'm worried.
I
have to be honest. I'm worried. I'm worried that this we had a few hiccups again already. So well, I just hope. I hope everything is going to be fine now. So
all we can do is hope.
All we can do is hope, and the draft is underway at least. So we have something to talk about. Relax will be banning out Enchantress as I think the first team today against Na'Vi in the first phase, even though Na'Vi hasn't really given it first phase priority. Relax are choosing to ban that out together with the Visage. Na'Vi doesn't want to give away neither Elder Titan nor the Alchemist, and that is a first pick Crystal Maiden coming the way of Relax.
And there it is again. Last game you're talking about that first pick Alchemist. When Na'Vi don't have first pick, they're just going to opt to ban it. They do not want to have to deal with an Alchemist if it's an option. I think that really is the make it or break it, first pick or not, depending on what they want to do with an Alchemist pick.
Yeah, well, Crystal Maiden at least with the first pick here, or as the first pick rather, for Relax, and it's not that uncommon anymore to see the Crystal Maiden getting picked really early, but I don't think a Crystal Maiden first pick happens that often. There's generally some other hero that gets picked as the very first, and then Crystal Maiden is either the second pick or gets picked by the other team, but Relax think it's worthy of a first pick, and Na'Vi... Oh, wow, look at that! We get a Luna for Na'Vi, finally! Yeah,
finally.
So fifth game in a row, Luna for Na'Vi.
Yeah.
Bristleback, very popular among them as well. But this time around, what's different about Na'Vi's draft this time is that they don't have supports in the first phase. And that means that Relax can actually try to lock them down a little bit in the support, on their supports and put some good lanes against what Na'Vi has. Because Na'Vi, to be honest, playing with a bit of an open hand here.
Yeah. So, they have been running that Luna, though. The third pick Luna has been where it's at, but here they are going to up that priority. And, yeah, it's sort of an interesting draft. Generally, those Alchemist-type heroes that are a little bit more flexible bode a little better with those first picks. I guess Bristleback is sort of similar. He can be safe lane or off lane, but grabbing Luna this early on does reveal a fair bit of that hand. Timbersaw will be grabbed. But, wow, look at that. RX, they've been watching these games. They're going to go ahead and third ban the Enigma.
I like this ban. Now, what makes sense with this ban is if Relax does not go for an aggressive trialing. Because if they would want to do that, they would let Na'Vi have their Enigma, or Na'Vi wouldn't even pick it. But that's kind of been the story of what Na'Vi have been picking lately. Last pick Enigma has been where it's been at, and not an option for them this time. And I'm expecting a support ban as well from Relax now. They could even ban out Puppy's Chen if they wanted to. That's still in the pool. And then all the junglers are gone. That might be a good recipe against Na'Vi right now, who really seem to put a lot of emphasis on using the jungle to their advantage.
Yeah, and it's a little bit a characteristic, I guess, of Na'Vi not having the Crystal Maiden. That's a hero that Puppy and Kuroki have both valued quite a bit, and we've seen a lot of Crystal Maiden on the side of Na'Vi over the past few days, so that's another sort of semi-jungler support. Of course, that Frostbite makes her jungling time a bit easier than a lot of the other supports in the pool. So I'm going to second on that. I think a Chen ban here would be quite good. No, they're going to ban the Pugna. That one, a little bit more out of left field. I don't know if I saw Na'Vi going with a Pugna pick here.
Gonna get the Shadow Demon. Instead, I think Na'Vi likes to run the Shadow Demon together with Luna because actually in the lane, these two have pretty good synergy. Luna's biggest weakness on the lane is that she is short range, so she needs to catch up. But the 2.5 seconds you get from Disruption is more than enough to get in on close range with Luna, then you get off multiple hits with the Soul Catcher on, and then you can finish off with the Lucent Beam. Apart from that, nice hero overall to have against Timbersaw. He's a very tanky hero, also plays a lot around on his mobility, but when you have the Disruption, when he throws out the Timber Chain, he actually stays in place. Or the Demonic Purge and, of course, Soul Catcher on tanky heroes is always a recipe for success to bringing them down. So I like this pick. It seems like it's Na'Vi's go-to support when their higher priorities are gone. Their higher priorities seemingly Crystal Maiden, Visage, and Enigma. And when they're out of the mix, this is kind of the plan B, I guess we could say, for Na'Vi.
Yes, that is definitely a fair way to put it, and I think you're exactly right about how Shadow Demon synergizes with Luna, because that 2.5 seconds is much longer than your average stuns, especially at the beginning levels where supports don't have those high levels quite yet. So I think you're absolutely spot on with that. And we'll see how RX want to try and react here. Na'Vi did ban out Slark with their 4th ban. So they do not want to play against... what is Slark? Is he supposed to be based on a Murloc? I know that's Blizzard taboo, but is he just a fish guy? What I don't know what he is. I don't have a good vernacular for it.
I don't know. He's an ugly fish.
He's an ugly fish. Piranha?
That's a mighty fish.
A mighty fish. I like it.
Alright, well. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about it, but...
We'll call
he's
him a
definitely
Murloc.
ugly. I think we can agree on that.
He's ugly,
Clinks.
yes. Okay, yes. Clinks.
One more thing I actually want to talk about before that is that the Timbersaw is a hero we kind of often see picked up against Bristleback. Now, the only things that don't go through, that Bristleback doesn't work against are HP removal if you're hexed or if you're doomed. Apart from that, it blocks pure damage as well if you've turned your back on the guy. So Timbersaw, not directly a counter as such because he has a lot of pure damage, but rather because Whirling Death reduces your strength. And of course that means Bristleback loses a lot of health. And if Bristleback is locked in place by some sort of a stun, Timbersaw can do so much damage if he comes in from the right angle. That's more important as well, because the way Bristleback usually survives fights is that even if he gets stunned, the other heroes don't have time to get in the right position to do the burst. But Timber is very mobile and does the damage really quickly. And that means if you get some sort of a lockdown, Bristle can die very fast. And of course, that's not really what you're interested in with that hero. And the Chen will come up for Na'Vi. So, not really a big surprise for me that they pick it, but I would have actually thought they would pick that 3rd instead of the Shadow Demon. But
yes,
very Na'Vi picks from Na'Vi so far.
So we'll see what they want to do with that final pick. Probably going to need the Dendi hero. Anytime there's a puck left in the pool, that's something that, well, they should consider banning out here with their final ban. It is one of Dendi's signature heroes, and as always, I guess there are very few lineups that puck doesn't work well with. I feel like I say a lot that puck would work nice here. Is there ever really a case where Puck would not work well? He's just an all-around great force to have in the mid lane.
I think he works best with lineups that need the time, so to speak. A hero we don't see played that much anymore, but which works really great with Puck in particular is Lycan, because the type of heroes that need time to just hit a lot of times and hit hard, Dream Coil is the perfect setup if you have mobility around that. And I think the reason Na'Vi like to pick it with Luna is that it gives a very nice setup to get multiple bouncing glaives off with the moon glaives, and you get your ulti off as well on the targets locked in place. Great synergy with Bristleback as well, so I think mainly heroes that need a bit of time to start their spread damage and overall spread damage carries are something really great for Puck to set up for. And Na'Vi has got 2 of them. They've got Luna and Bristle, so I completely agree. I think Puck would be a really good choice for Na'Vi, and wouldn't be surprised to see Relax banning it.
Now, what's interesting here is Relax going to 4th pick the Leshrac. That's another hero that hasn't gotten a lot of love these days, and really the only time I've remembered seeing Leshrac so far in Starladder Season 8 is actually that classic Shadow Demon Lesh combo. Of course, set up with the Disruption, follow up with the Split Earth, does make for a pretty dirty early game. But an interesting choice here nonetheless. One of the things about Lesh is that early pushing. That Edict does knock down towers pretty quickly, but they don't have a particularly push-heavy lineup. So it is kind of an interesting choice in my opinion. Of course, there is that Puck final ban from RX. I think a smart choice.
Yeah, I could see Na'Vi going for perhaps a Storm Spirit here, since they banned OD themselves, so now they can pick an Intelligence mid-hero if they want, and Puck might have been their priority.
There it is.
Boom. There it is. The thing is, Relax don't have a single target stun, and if you remember what I said, was it last game or the game before? In my book, Storm Spirit, one of the best heroes in the game if he's not countered. There's a lot of heroes who are, you know, Dota plays a lot on very unique designs, and the heroes are incredibly different, and Storm Spirit's one weakness is silences and stuns. If they're not present, he just goes completely crazy. Together with heroes like Weaver, they're kind of the same in theory and how they work. Very mobile, high burst damage, and just killing people over time in the fight. And Na'Vi recognized that there's not too much to dealing with it, and then suddenly Relax are like, okay, we need a targeted stun. And that targeted stun should go mid. Dragon Knight is probably a good choice. And what's great about the picks for Relax here is that they have good rotation that can kill the Storm. It's what we saw yesterday when God got wrecked by Na'Vi on his Storm Spirit. Kind of similar scenario here. They're running a stunner mid, and they have Crystal Maiden on this rack who can easily smoke up and get a gank on Dendi. And it's going to happen once or twice. The only problem is there's a disruption available. If Kuroki is in the right place guarding Dendi, he's going to be very hard to kill.
Yes, and that's another aspect of Shadow Demon that'll come in handy here. We've almost seen Shadow Demon more useful for that defensive disruption than the aggressive disruption, at least the handful of times we've seen him picked up as kind of a reset amongst those fights. But, yeah, the Dragon Knight, you're right, it should make for pretty easy setups on the Storm Spirit, especially before level 6. You can open with that Dragon Tail. That's a pretty lengthy stun and should set up plenty of room for Lesh to come in and connect with a double split Earth. And with Storm Spirit, the name of the game is really how many times can you kill him before he hits level 6? Because 6 is that mark where he just becomes so slippery. Of course, Ball Lightning puts you in that estranged state of immortality while you're flying around, a huge bit of mobility as well. And if they can lock down Dendi once, maybe even twice before level 6, that'll be great news. If not, that's when things start to get a little bit rough, and Storm Spirit has a pretty high chance of picking up some of that snowball momentum.
Yeah, another good thing going for Relax is that Clinks will probably be getting a fast Orchid because he's played in the easy lane. So even though Dendi does get off to a good start, one thing you really don't want to have to do with Storm Spirit is buy BKB first, because you want to have an item that gives you mana pool, mana regen, or ganking potential, such as an Orchid, a Bloodstone, or a Scythe of Ice. But if you're having a really hard time, sometimes you're going to be forced into the BKB, and it really lowers your damage potential in fights, because your mana pool is simply lower. So every spell you use, obviously the ultimate is percentage based, so in that regard it doesn't matter too much, but it starts really kicking in when you have to use Static Remnant and Electric Vortex and you don't have the regen. So depending on the success of Clinks early on, Dendi could actually have a hard game here. And the issue for Relax, what we talked about in the draft, that they didn't really have too many stuns against Na'Vi, I guess it goes both ways. Na'Vi not sitting on too much either. They have Disruption and they have Electric Vortex, and that's pretty much it. So Clinks will probably be able to do a lot of damage in these fights.
Yeah, their only other bit of stun is going to be the Centaurs that Puppy will be able to amass on that Shen. And we definitely have seen Na'Vi do some interesting plays with those Centaurs. We've seen on a couple of occasions where Force Staff onto a Centaur so he can hop into the fight to initiate. We've definitely seen that. So don't count that out in terms of crowd control, but that does require a certain bit of RNG and, of course, Puppy to have those creeps in the right place at the right time. Havost off to a little bit of a rocky start here. He's going to poke his way up to the high ground. Going to take a Frostbite right on the ramp, but oh, the luck! Regeneration rune. Maybe that's why he did it, but... yeah, gonna grab that regen and we'll walk away.
It's a pause because of a pause. It's not because of a disconnect. This is good.
Yes.
For the first time, I'm like, okay, this is all right. We're pausing. It's not like, oh, not a pause again, but it's just a pause.
Yeah.
We're like reaching that stage when we're happy. It's just a pause. So here we go, into the game, and yeah, I'm curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah. So let's talk about these lanes a little bit here. Na'Vi gonna have Funnick with Bristleback on the long lane here, going solo top. Dendi gonna be mid on that Storm Spirit, and in the bottom lane it is gonna be a tri-lane. Sorry, I was reading what Dread had to say there. Havost gonna be on the hard farming Luna, of course. He'll be supported by Kuroki on that Shadow Demon, and Puppy gonna be jungling defensively here in the Radiant jungle, and will actually grab a Centaur to start things off on that Shen. On the Dire side, we got Team RX. Relax, you're doing fine. They were Poseidon before those roster swaps. We've got Shotchlo going to be in the long lane on the Timbersaw down here in the bottom. In the mid, going to be Tame My Wild playing on the Dragon Knight, and that does open up for a bit of tri-lane up at the top. Nexus going to be on the Clinks in the safe lane, who is playing on the Leshrac, and KSI going to be in the jungle on that Crystal Maiden.
We're gonna see some early rotation in this game, I feel. I think either... Oh, Kuroki is gonna do a little bit of a disruption here. I don't think much is gonna come out of that. Shashlo is basically stealing farm here and stealing experience. Very nicely played here. He knows his limits. He does realize that Na'Vi supports this early on probably can't bring him down alone. It's not a killer combo as such, but Chen and Shadow Demon is more of a great setup for a third hero to get the kills. Which is why they're probably going to rotate toward mid and try to take out Dendi at some point with a Smoke of Deceit from Chen and Shadow Demon. And at the same time, for Relax, Dendi is playing really aggressively here on the mid lane. He's keeping Dragon Knight on his cliff, so he's very exposed right now. I'm actually surprised Dendi is playing this like this. Because any sort of smoke response right now could just kill him. And we see KSI smoking up right now. I think they're going to try to go for this kill. Dread will even find an invis. This should be a lag.
Well, this should be again coming in mid, but this is what we've had all day, folks. These huge server drops. I use the term server split, but Cyborg Matt. Oh, God. I love Cyborg Matt. He is such a nice guy. Friendly fellow.
Hopefully,
with a world
we get things back.
Yeah, so
Kuroki just writing GG. Well, everyone's back in. So that was fast reconnects all around, at least.
Yeah, that is a good sign. But indeed, Dread is standing on this invisibility rune. At first, I was just like, I don't see it, and he's literally standing on top of it. So that is going to be an invis coming his way. He's going to grab it. Now Dendi going to be very exposed here. This is a little bit rough. I'm going to borrow your term. I like it. Lesh just sitting at that low ground. There is one more bottle charge left for Dendi, so we will be able to heal up a bit. KSI is still smoked up. And they're just looking for this opportunity. Tame My Wild going to be the one to start it off. There's the Dragon Tail. Split Earth. Not going to be a thing here. He actually got Edict to level 1, but doesn't matter. They've got the burst. Tame My Wild going to have that level 2 Breathe Fire, and that's a First Blood coming out onto the Storm Spirit. It will go the way of Tame My Wild on that Dragonite.
That was a really fun First Blood to watch, because I only saw one spell that I was expecting in that kill, and that was Dragon Tail. I was expecting a Split Earth and a Frostbite, but we got a Crystal Nova and an Edict out of Leshrac there.
Yeah.
So, kind of an odd way of getting the kill, but whatever works. They get the kill, they get the levels, so fair enough.
Yeah. So, Puppy getting frustrated here, Velat looking like he's about ready to throw in the towel as well. Puppy, let's go to the pub. Cyborg Matt with the right idea here. So yeah, I was a little thrown off as well. I didn't notice that Lesh had skilled Edict at level 1, so I was like, Split Earth? Split Earth? Oh, okay, cool. Edict works, that's cool. I like it. I do like Lesh. It's another one of the heroes that I do enjoy playing from time to time. Fun hero.
It's a really fun kind of support, and can also be played as a core, but that's been quite a long time since that's really happened, especially in the Western scene.
Yeah.
It's a hero I really enjoy watching when it's farmed, because you're like it's kind of like a bomber when you run into the fight. You just deal so much AoE damage around you, and it's about how fast can you shut down the Leshrac before everyone just burns up in the Pulse Nova and the Edict. So. Really entertaining hero to watch. Great as a support because of the pushing potential of Edict, but also the flexibility that you can choose not to skill Edict, but get two very powerful nukes in case you need that more in the Split Earth and Lightning Storm, of course. But
yeah, Lightning Storm has fallen off as well. There was a while where that build of just going Lightning Storm primary to zone people out of the lane was really popular, but I haven't seen a Lesh do that in a while. That Split Earth Edict combo seems to be what folks are doing these days.
It's because there's so much focus on getting a collateral. You don't want to just get a kill, you want to get more. And if you kill the enemy offlaner and you have a level 2 Edict, you take half a tower with that alone. So it's very, very rewarding skill to have if you make a good play. But on the other hand, it's not necessarily the best spell to make a play with, if that makes sense. It's kind of less... It's a little more restrictive in its use than Lightning Storm is, in terms of dealing the damage, as we actually have a smoke gank mid, so there's the response Dendi really needed here. Na'Vi coming in with Chen and Shadow Demon. As expected, this was going to happen at some point.
Yep. That's Centaur. So, Puppy's best friend here. Oh, KSI coming in. Maybe looking to snipe this Centaur. He sees it. No, I'm not going to grab it. Just going to throw down a lane ward here to try and help out his mid lane. But yeah, both sides. You really called it, my friend. All about those rotations here coming mid. And at least it is relatively even here, 1 for 1. Of course, Dragonite still did get that little bit of extra bounty, compliments of the First Blood.
Oh, and poor Puppy here. He just put down his sentry. I think he saw Crystal Maiden placing the ward, but if you click on the sentry, look at where its vision goes and where the Observer ward is, the sentry next to the
Yeah, that's...
just outside range, so a little bit... The old sentry ward would have seen that. I don't know if Puppy is stuck in an old habit here, but that needed to be a little bit more to the right. So the vision is going to stay here, but... No. I guess Navi's okay as long as they know the ward is there, which I think they still realize that it must be. They saw Crystal Maiden peeking down because of their own ward covering the area, and most importantly, Dendi's now level 6. So 5 minutes in, he's had a good start. He's died once, but he's got 34 CS, and generally it's very easy playing Storm against melee heroes because, well, it's hard for them to come in close with the static remnant risk, and here we go. Dendi's actually going to go in close instead. Very nice reaction from Tame My Wild. Fast on the stun, but Dendi might dive this one. This is really far.
No,
they do choose to not pursue.
Yeah, probably the smart choice there. But Tame My Wild with the reactions. That was a very fast Dragon Tail. There's not a large window there for the ball lightning into Vortex. And he found it, that instant cast time. So these other lanes, let's see what's going on elsewhere. Havost having a pretty good time down here in the bottom, though as I say that, he's going to get engaged on, and that'll be the end of him. I was going to say, this is a good time for him here. He just picked up his Midas. He's got a lot of CS, 33 and 9, but they get that value kill. and will punish that Midas a little bit. If only it was just a bit earlier, he was able to get that first Midas charge off before he went down, so at least the Midas is on cooldown as he sits in the grave, but very unfortunate for Havost.
Dragon Knight will be contesting Dendi mid for the rune. Will get it because of the Dragon Tail stun and then picking up the rune. So he gets himself an illusion, not the best rune in general. This rune is perhaps, I guess, regarded by most people as the worst rune in the game.
Yeah, I mean, the others are certainly more powerful. Invis, haste, double damage. I guess regen can be useless.
It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
The best thing, the stages where illusion rune is best is very, very early on. So like in the first rune in the laning stage, it's very powerful to have 2 illusions if you have a ranged hero.
Yeah.
And in the late game, when you have a lot of stats, then the illusions are actually getting pretty strong. And of course, I mean, you can make some cheeky plays where you make a fake play with an illusion, so the enemy goes on that, but it's a tricky rune, and less straightforward to use well than the other runes. But regardless, at least he gets a bottle refill, and that's the most important thing right now.
Yeah, it can help out in pushing if someone like a Lesh, or even if Dragon Knight in Elder Dragon form has an illusion. It can help assist in knocking down those towers, but you're definitely right. I don't know that its illusion is particularly weak, it's just the other runes are so much stronger. I mean, what would you say is the most powerful rune on the competitive level?
Haste or double damage, I guess.
Double damage? I would say haste, and we'll hold
haste
that
or double damage. Oh, mid.
Yeah, Dendi and Tame My Wild.
Who's killing who here?
Toe-to-toe, exactly right. The defensive disruption. Tame My Wild looking for it. Dendi not going to get hit by the Breathe Fire, and that'll be the end of the Dragon Knight. That was a close call, though. Dendi almost going down to that Fire Breath. That will level it out 2-2. But yeah, I would definitely say haste. I think haste sets up a lot more versatility, and it lets you, set up kills, lets you get out of sticky situations, make dives. That, yeah, double damage is great, but you still rely on the other team being in a position where you can set up a gank. Haste lets you do things you otherwise would have found impossible.
Or that logic, then invisibility is also a better rune than double damage.
Yeah,
so I don't know. It's very, once again, it's incredibly case dependent.
Yeah.
The thing about double damage is, in comparison to haste, the great thing about double damage is how good it is in the laning phase as well. If you get a double damage in your mid lane, you basically secure yourself 2 creep waves, and you can deny everything as well. If Dendi found a DD right there, he would be taking control here. Of course, Tame My Wild, since he's a Dragon Knight on level 7, has Breathe Fire to take last hits with, but if that happens earlier on in the laning stage, you can win the mid lane with a DD. It's a lot harder to win the lane in the same way with a haste.
That's true.
And when you get to late game, having a DD on your carry who has a crit will often be more useful than having a haste. So, depends on the situation in the game. I would say if every hero was like Batrider, then haste rune was the best rune in the game, because that's just incredible. But yeah, there's a situation for everything in Dota. That's why you can't really say anything is the best ever.
Yeah, so. Part of the reason this game is so interesting to watch. And play, for that matter. But in the mid lane, Dendi going to be in some trouble here. The Split Earth from Dread, going to be off the mark. He decided to cast the Edict first. Needed that time to stagger the stuns and gave Dendi the opening he needed for the Ball Lightning. I would definitely label that one a misplay by Dread.
Yeah, I'm not sure they needed that Edict damage to begin with. He's got level 3 stun, so it actually in its own right deals quite a lot of damage. And then the Breathe Fire from Dragon Knight as well as the Dragon Tail and a couple of hits might have done the trick.
Yep.
But they might be feeling the pressure here. I think they realize that they should really be doing something about this Storm Spirit and want to try to make sure to get the kill by dealing as much damage as possible. I'm not sure if they have to be this worried right now, though. Since Clinks seems to be having a pretty good time, this is going to be a very early Orchid. He's actually out-farming Havost by about 15 CS, which is something we very rarely see. Havost, obviously, with that 1 death, has cost him the 2 creep waves, but still, next 71 CS at 10 minutes is pretty damn good. He hasn't missed pretty much anything on this top lane, and we'll be looking to make a play soon, I think, with the Orchid. Yeah. 600 gold off it.
Wow, that is a very, very fast Orchid here. It looks like Funnick has been doing all right up here in the top lane. His CS, 25-1. He's getting experience. He's just going to go toe-to-toe with this Clinks right now, but he hits pretty hard. And now Funnick going to have to about face, and that's not going to work out too well for him. In the mid, some exchanging going back and forth. Tame My Wild going to be the target this time. Puppey going to initiate with that ensnare, compliments of the Dark Troll Summoner. And they will be able to set it up. Now Dreg going to come in.
Oh, nice purge.
Oh, no. He's going to get purged, and things are not looking good for Leshrac. Or are they? Looks like he might be able to make it out. Luna going to come in. Dendi going to hop forward. He will be able to use some wand charges, and that will ensure his survival. Na'Vi going to have to commit quite a bit to it here. Now Satchel going to pour it in. Havost could be in a bit of a sticky situation. Will turn. Going to burn the Eclipse here. Going to get a lot of beams off. Does connect with heroes. Satchel going to be able to timber chain away. and Havost will survive, but Nexus now rotating his way in, still off the mark for that Orchid, but the double Oblivion Staff gives him a pretty scary bit of right-click attack, or a right-click damage, pardon me. And nope, that's going to be it. No more kills going to come out. Close call there for the Timbersaw.
One thing we haven't touched upon so far that we saw just then is that Nexus can eat Chen's creeps with the Death Pact. That's... At one point, it was actually very popular to pick up Clinks just against Chen, and pretty much in no other scenario, because it's a free way of getting rid of one of Chen's creeps and converting it into a lot of good damage and health for yourself. And worth noting is the Chen creeps are stronger than the creeps in the jungle. This is actually the strongest creep in the game that Clinks can eat with Death Pact, is a Chen creep on level 4 Holy Persuasion, because they have an additional 300 health.
Yeah.
And that, when you do the math, that actually converts to quite a lot of damage and health for the Clinks.
Yeah.
Just on a level 1 Death Pact, he gets an additional 150 health from a Chen creep than from another creep. And an additional 5% of the damage out of 300 health. How much is that? That's 15 extra damage as well, so that's pretty significant, actually.
Yeah, it really is. And they also have the Crystal Maiden as well. Of course, Frostbite works very well against neutrals and does translate to Chen creeps. So between the two of them, they have the tools they need to deal with Puppy's Chen here. And as we were talking about, those Centaurs, I guess as well as the Hellbears, are going to be a crucial part of Navi's team fight here, as they are locking a bit of crowd control. So interesting. Relax with a pretty solid draft here to deal with Puppy's Chen. They didn't ban it out, but they do have the tools ready to shut him down.
And speaking of tools to shut Chen down, how many games have we seen a Clinks starting to counter jungle the Chen once he has the Orchid, just solo killing him? I've lost count of how many times that happens per week. It's very common when you have Clinks against Chen that's your way to go, because you can, when Chen is jungling, you can eat the creep next to Chen before you kill him. So you get the buff right before you initiate with the Orchid, and then you have the obviously high level on Strafe to get the kill. So Nexus will definitely have a good target in the Chen, a good target in the Luna. There's actually no one on Navi's side he can't solo kill. He can even kill the Bristleback at this point, because Funnick hasn't really got too much. I mean, it's fair to say he's done a pretty good job in the offlane, getting 38 CS at 12 minutes, but it's just not enough against the Clinks with 85.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Now, Navi are holding on to a gold lead here, as well as an experience lead as a team. Gold lead upwards of 2,000, experience somewhere around 3,000. Even though Clinks is going toe-to-toe with the farm of Havost, the big disparity is that mid lane. Storm Spirit now 5k, but we're going to hold that because there is an initiation coming out. Dendy going to hop forward. Elder Dragon form going to be used. Tame My Wild going to get dropped pretty quickly here. Split Earth comes, and Dendy does hop backwards. Will juke it, and neither side going to commit too hard to this fight. It is a 4 versus 4 so far. Puppy's on his way in, and not with him is that Clinks. He's still just farming away up at the top lane. Here's the engage coming in. Dragon Knight going to fall. Kuroki taking a lot of damage as well. Dreg going to get taken out. Now Shotchlo forced to about face, and he will be able to make it back to safety, but an explosive 2-for-0 exchange as Na'Vi get the better of it. Shadow Demon going to walk away with just 25 hit points to spare. That disruption coming in handy.
Not too big of a victory here for Na'Vi, though, and they do lose a tier 1 tower top, and I don't think they'll be able to claim this one bottom. So effectively 2 kills for a tower at this point, and Clinks now getting all that gold for himself is probably treads for him. I think Relax got the better of that, but that was really close, and a little bit of better timing from Relax could have probably netted them 1 or 2 kills in return, but didn't look like they were completely on the same page. Shotchlo was really far at the back when Dragon Knight and Leshrac managed to land their stuns there, so could have perhaps grabbed a counter kill, but I think they're going to feel okay with this, and this is when their lineup kicks in my opinion. The Clinks with the Orchid, the Timbersaw with level 9, almost 10 now, closing in on a Bloodstone, and now it's time to make action for them. They've only got 2 kills in 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Time to move around the map.
Yeah, definitely. And now that Storm Spirit is level 11, he's starting to get a little bit scarier, but he did feel pressured to go for that BKB first, as you mentioned. Not going to be an aggressive item that helps that mana pool, as I'm sure Dendy would have preferred. And this is going to be a little ways off that finishing the BKB here, about 1,000 gold or so. So this could be a window of opportunity where they could try and capitalize on Dendy's lack of BKB, and doesn't really have much to show for it quite yet. Though, with that said, Chen is going to complete his mech. No mech on the side of RX. So, mech advantage going the way of Na'Vi, which will help these upcoming team fights.
That's so important right now, and it's the right timing to hit it. That's why they're pushing mid right now, because they just picked up the mech. Completely perfect timing on that, trying to put some pressure here on Relax, but I don't think they're going to let this tower go. I really think they want to fight for this, and Nexus has a lot of creeps to choose from. Which one do I want to eat? And there is one Ursa left. Now the rest of the creeps are garbage, to say the least, for his ult.
Yeah.
But that was the last one, and now Dendi could be in trouble here, but well-positioned Kuroki here, ready with a disruption in case.
Yep. And Dendi getting ever so close to that BKB now. We see a little bit of Luna harassment coming out, and they're just going to slow siege this tower. Now, there is a glyph available if RX want to pop it and commit to a fight here. Dendi going to hop backwards. Funnick going to take a couple of tower shots, but Havos now going to turn. He will burn the Eclipse. He is level 11, so a lot of beams going to come out, and Leshrac going to die before this fight even really starts. The glyph is going to get popped. Na'Vi will certainly be able to secure this tower kill. The question is, will they be able to grab some more kills? They'll get one on the Dragon Knight. Shen finishes the tower, and Na'Vi going to be able to take this fight pretty easily. They haven't even used the mech yet. I don't think. I didn't see it get popped. Nope, he's still got it. So they're just going to start chipping away at this tier 2. They've got a lot of skeletons here with that double troll, Dark Troll Summoners. And also the Wildling Ripper going to add that nice toughness aura, going to make for easy pushing. And that will be a free tier 2, not the hold that RX were looking for.
Yeah, the flanking here from Funnick really made that fight. Smart play from Na'Vi, having 4 heroes in the front, and then Funnick comes in from the side, and Relax is forced to make a decision there when Funnick starts coming in and mauling at them from the back. And they couldn't really adapt to the situation there, couldn't find the right initiation with the Dragon Knight, and Na'Vi end up getting 2 kills and 2 towers out of that. That was a really big win for them, and without, like you said, without too much trouble. They didn't use Hand of God, they didn't use mech, and well, if you could take a fight like that, I mean, why not just why not just go on for the top lane? Dendi even getting a solo kill mid on the Leshrac.
Did miss that.
Now it's starting to get scary, because with that BKB, now he's going to have to use it against Nexus, but it comes up at the right time, and now Nexus has missed his timing window, which, to be fair, wasn't really that big.
Yeah.
On killing Dendi with the Orchid, but he at least had it for like 5 minutes, and unfortunately he hasn't even got an assist yet on this Clinks, and it's mainly attributed to the fact that Na'Vi are really good at moving around right now, and they're not really giving him any opportunities by moving as 5 together like this. They recognize what their weakness is right now, and they're just avoiding giving Relax a chance to exploit it.
Yeah, you're hit the nail on the head with that one. So there's not giving Clinks any opportunity to get a solo kill. Dendi was the only one solo, and of course with the BKB, that makes the Orchid kind of a moot point. But I just love these creeps that Puppy has. The double
nice
Dark Troll. Oh, that really was nice from Clinks. But also the Toughness Aura really helping out. Dread going to poke his way too far forward, going to use the Pulse Nova, but obviously not going to be able to survive this one. Lesh is not a hero that fares too well against the Bristleback. Once he stacks up that viscous nasal goo, makes it difficult for Lesh to initiate or run away. A very movement-based hero, and those easily applicable slows, that's the word I was looking for. Well, they make Lesh's life a little bit more difficult. Now Na'Vi, though, no reason to back up. They're just going to keep on pressing. They know Relax don't have a glyph here. They've got the right creeps for it, and they're going to start chipping away at this tier 3 up top.
I think they might be forced away here. This is a really bad position for them to fight in right now, but perhaps with the Chen heals, they could be able to. Eclipse is off cooldown again, but Havost really sitting on low mana right now. Will need a charge of Arcane Boots, but both Puppy and Kuroki have them on cooldown. Also
a gem on the Chen as well, so that hoping Clinks may step too far forward, perhaps. A very early gem. I guess not the earliest, but a reasonably early gem here. So hoping to catch that Clinks off guard. Don't know if they're going to find it. Havos does have that Helmet Dominator, and working towards the BKB. Dendi going to get left behind here. They are looking for an initiation. Could be a little bit of bait from Na'Vi, though they have started to spread quite a bit. And I think that's going to be it. No, they're going to come in here. Dendi going to go forward. He's going to hop on the Dragon Knight. BKB going to be popped. Dragon Knight in big trouble. Looks like Dendi basically going to be able to solo him down. Wand Charge is going to pick him back up. One more hit ought to finish him off, and it looks like that poison will do it. Now, meanwhile, back in this side of the fight, Clinks trying to focus down the Chen. He did burn the Orchid. Still, everyone on Na'Vi at pretty high hit points. Hand of God still available. Mech still available as well. Nexus getting tracked down by Puppy. Looking for some support here, perhaps. Puppy not going to have an interrupt if Nexus is just going to try and port out here. And that's what he's going to do. Smart play. Disruption, not going to get there in time.
But Na'Vi, this is very, very well executed from them, I have to say. They've been taking an advantage pretty much the whole game. They're making the right decisions, taking the right fights that they can take. And Relax are just having a hard time getting in, alright, until now. Maybe Dendi is in trouble. There's a Hand of God available. I don't think they even need it, but are going to use it together with the bottle. Which is fine. And Na'Vi immediately smoking up, might be looking for some sort of a counter-initiate. But this has probably been the best game we've seen out of Na'Vi so far, I think. In terms of how well their opponents have played and how well they've played themselves has been really good. Here we go, initiation onto Nexus. He's going to be in a lot of trouble here.
Nexus in big trouble indeed. Looks like one more auto attack ought to do it. Storm Spirit going to be able to finish him off. Puppey now getting a little bit low. Shadow Demon does fall to the wrath of the Timber Saw. Phonic now going to move into the front lines. He does have a Vanguard as well as a Plate Mail, so going to start stacking up a little bit of armor. Will take a stun, but he's going to have that back turn. Timber Saw trying to get to the front side, but still these quills are starting to add up. Phonic stuck in no man's land. Everyone leaving him behind. Now Dendy going to come back in. That'll be the end of Phonic, but Dendy might be able to clean it up. Satchel going to fall. He will commit suicide. Compliments of that Bloodstone he was just able to pick up. Dendy now going to be out of mana, but there's Havos with the Eclipse. That'll be the end of the Lesh. Down goes the Dragon Knight. Na'Vi just one step ahead of RX at every single turn. Yeah, they got a couple of kills there, but Havost coming in to support Dendy. He will survive, and of course they grab those counter kills as well.
I was worried for Dendy right there that he was going to pay for his life by misusing the BKB. I'm not sure if you noticed, but he popped it like he was being sent home by Chen, and when there was half a second until he was home, he popped the BKB by mistake. But
yeah, I missed it.
Actually turned out to kind of make a bait in that fight, because the Dragon Knight was constantly trying to get to Dendy with the stun, and didn't need the BKB after all.
Yep.
So, well, no problem there, and Na'Vi are looking to expand their lead by taking the big stone guy here. I don't think Relax can really contest this too much. Timbersaw's gonna check it out and at least put some harassment onto the Chen creeps, so we'll get one kill on that, and maybe this actually prevents Na'Vi from getting it. It looks like it.
Yeah, I think Na'Vi didn't want to commit to it too hard. That was one of those, if we can do it with the Chen creep, sure, let's go for it, but we don't really want to force the issue, I guess, just still worried about getting stuck in the pit with a Lesh, with a Dragon Knight, as well as a Timber Saw. That's enough AoE that having your whole team in the pit could be a little bit sticky, especially with the Eclipse on cooldown, the Hand of God on cooldown as well. You can see the motivation for Na'Vi to be kind of disinterested in overcommitting to the Roche pit, but probably not too far off. And I really love the choice of Puppey to hang on to this Wildling Whipper. Adding that 3 bonus armor mixed with the Basilius that someone has one, I think. Do they? They should have a Basilius. Yeah, it's on the inventory of the Luna. So when that grouped up, that's just a huge amount of armor going their way. And, well, going to abandon it now to grab the stun of the Centaur. But I think a smart choice really does assist in those early pushes.
And I'm going to abandon the Basilius as well, so right when you talk about that, they drop both the armor.
Well, they got what they needed out of it. They did knock down those tier 2 towers, so point holds.
Got the ultimate orb instead on the Luna, building in towards probably a Manta style, but we've seen a little bit of crazy stuff from Havost yesterday, but this looks like a game where Na'Vi are really bringing their A game, bringing their best builds and everything, and Relax just doesn't seem like they can keep up, and who can blame them? This is a really well-played game so far by Na'Vi. Definitely an excellent performance, and we'll be taking the bottom tier 2 as well. And Relax, what can they really do at this stage? They can snipe the courier, that's good. Lynx gets that one with a couple of searing arrows here.
Alright, it's a step in the right direction.
They're just not giving him a chance to find a gank.
Yeah.
That's the really impressive thing about it. How often do you see a Clinks, an easy lane Clinks 23 minutes in without an assist?
Yeah, that's true.
They've really got nothing now, Na'Vi.
Na'Vi gonna come in here. Havos gonna have the Eclipse. He's gonna burn it straight away. Roshan does fall. Aegis will go to Dendy. And Klink's gonna fall, as will the Dragon Knight to start off this fight. Now Lesh gonna get taken out, and it's not over yet. Sachlo being pursued. He's gonna fall. This is gonna be an easy, clean sweep. 5-0. Nexus just gonna peace out. Who knows if that was intentional or connection related, but we could be moments from a GG here, as 5-0 with Roshan. I think Na'Vi will be able to secure this win.
Na'Vi have a couple of heroes standing still. Yeah.
Uh-oh. No, that was just a service split. I apologize, Nexus. I thought that was a rage quit. Looks like it was a legit DC, so I will apologize for that.
I was hoping for this to happen as well. Shatchlo is going to call the GG, because when there's these kind of connection issues and you're in this state in the game, there's no point in stressing both teams with playing on this game. Na'Vi has such a huge advantage that the chance of a comeback here from Relax was pretty much non-existent. So good manners here, calling out the GG by Shatchlo, who's the only guy from the team who actually stayed inside the game. And I don't know how much to say about this game, apart from the fact that Na'Vi just simply played really, really well. And RX, they looked good in the start. I think they got out of the lanes what they needed, but they couldn't convert it into anything meaningful in the mid-game, which is when Clink should have peaked, where Timbersaw should have peaked, and where Dragon Knight should have simply had a bigger impact, but Na'Vi just denied all of it.
I think this is one of these games that looked a lot more one-sided than it truly was. It was pretty even, and it wasn't where RX got super outdrafted. They didn't do anything super silly. Na'Vi just executed really well, and as soon as they had that mech up, it was a 5-man ball, and Klinks was like, all right, guys, I'm ready to gank. And there were literally no opportunities. There was no one stuck solo. The only opportunities he had were on the Storm Spirit, who was able to get a BKB first, and Na'Vi just executing well. I think RX still played pretty well despite it looking very one-sided on the hero kill count, 4-19. Maybe misleading here.
Yeah, I agree. At least in terms of the early game, this was not a game like the previous Na'Vi games we've seen where they've won this fast. Those games were a lot more one-sided than this one. I just think Na'Vi just stepped up their play one more step in this game. In my opinion, this is the best they've played so far that I've seen in the tournament. And yeah, a few things from Relax also went wrong. The fight at the bottom maybe could have swung a little bit differently, and maybe they could have gone something out of that. But with the type of lineup that Na'Vi has, if they don't get challenged hard enough early on, if this kind of lineup starts getting momentum, it's very hard to fight into a lineup like this. BKB on Luna, BKB on Storm Spirit, Shadow Demon defensive disruption, double heal from Chen, and a Bristleback who's immortal. Like, who do you go on when you go in? It's probably, it also felt like that was the problem for Relax when they were to initiate, because Dragon Knight was like, I can't stun anyone, because Shadow Demon will just disrupt the guy, so who do I go on? And then he runs in and actually gets countered himself by a jumping Storm, and Eclipse follows up, and just overall very, very smart draft from Na'Vi's smart way of playing it in particular. And I can't really blame Relax, because I think their draft was good as well. They just didn't really get to use it like they were hoping for.
Absolutely. So we are going to get into the next game here, guys. I believe the lobby's up. Hopefully lag issues will subside. But SSD on the schedule here for our last two games. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. I'm Zyori. With me is Cinderin. And more Dota coming your way.